guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we have a fun wild ride. I did a collab video with Sarah over at Sarah's Shelves and this is the result. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to be watching Sarah's video. So if I'm looking off to the sides, because that's where I'm watching it. So let's see.
Hello, Vanessa. I'm literally so excited to be doing this collab with you. You have no idea. And I'm even more excited to give you my prompts. So let's just get into it. So your first prompt is to read a book that has the same exact amount of letters in the title as the letters that are in your name. Have fun.
Okay, so I have to find a book that has the same exact amount of letters in my name. So Vanessa is 7 letters. What do I have? That's really tough, Sarah. Okay, I'll be back. So I have 2 options and I might actually post a poll to my Instagram to see what other people would pick because I don't know. I have audiobooks for both of these. So I have Familia by Lauren E. Rico, which this one will count for Ramathon, which I'm participating in because it's a blue cover. I'm counting teal as blue. I don't see an animal on this cover, but this one is about... I'm just gonna read like the quick blurb at the very top here. It says, what if your most basic beliefs about your life were suddenly revealed to be a lie? In this compelling emotional novel, 2 young women are brought together by a genealogy test and a haunting question that shakes their understanding of what family is and who they truly are. This is the first option. I'm thinking I could potentially count this for Ramathon. I mean, there's a lot of blue. But it's The Fury by Alex Nicolaides. I don't know, they might argue it's yellow, but there is quite a bit of blue here. Blue. I'm on Team Creation, so. This one says, this is a tale of murder. And I'm a little less, like, wanting to read this one because my bestie Bree just read this, like, last month and was not a fan of it. But I feel like there's something about Greece that's going on because this is like a symbol I kept seeing in Greece, and so I'm very intrigued. Oh yeah, it does say they spent Easter on an idyllic private Greek island. So, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna like do some work today and then have Instagram pick one of these books. So whoever wins by the time my sprints start, I guess that's what I'll be reading. So it looks like the Fury one, I had 23 votes for the Fury and 12 votes for Familia. I also did put a poll pick on Discord and I had 19 people pick the Fury and 24 pick Familia. So if you add up the 24 plus the 12, that's 36 for Familia, and 19 plus 23 is 42 for the Fury. So the Fury won. Yay. I think this is the book I was like more interested in reading, just because I've been like in a dark mood. So I'm gonna read the synopsis. So it says, this is a tale of murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lana Farrer is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year, she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. I tell you this because you might think you know this story. You probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids, if you remember. It had all the necessary ingredients for a press sensation: a celebrity, a private island cut off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits, full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. Okay then. So I thought that I had the audiobook through the library because last week at some point, I think like I got an email saying it was ready, and then I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I thought maybe I had said like, yes, deliver it, but maybe I said deliver it like a week from now, or maybe I just didn't borrow it in time and it went back on my hold shelf. So I am 13th in line and there's 263 people waiting. So I have to wait for the audio. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read it physically with my eyeballs. Okay. So I finished The Fury last night. And I gave it 3 stars. It was it had potential. But I felt like the author was writing like 5 different plots, couldn't decide which plot he wanted to go with, and just wrote them all, and then just wrote it in the perspective of this person, Elliot, who's the main character, being like, nah, just kidding, that's not how the story actually went, but I wish it was how it went. And I was just like, what? I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that unreliable narrator. But I will say I did enjoy kind of like that WTF factor, I guess, of like what the F just happened. And then at the very end, in the epilogue, you get a cameo from someone in The Silent Patient. Well, you don't actually see them, but they're referenced. But overall, this one was just okay. Not my favorite. I'm actually going to unhaul it. But I'm glad I did finish this one. I actually ended up getting the audio for this, which is why I flew through it yesterday. And I really just wanted to get it read. So, not off to a great start here, but let's see what Sarah has planned for me next.
I hope you enjoyed your first book because you might not enjoy this prompt. We're gonna leave this prompt up to luck, you know? It's March, so why not? Basically, I want you to get your highest rated book on your TBR and your lowest rated book on your TBR and assign each of them to either heads or tails. It doesn't have to be heads being the highest rated and tails being the lowest rated. It could be either or. Then I want you to flip a coin. Whatever it lands on, you have to read that book. So you are either going to be reading your highest rated book or your lowest rated book on your TBR. You could either love me or hate me after this. I don't know, but we shall see.
All right, I have to go figure out what my highest and my lowest rated books are because I haven't actually cataloged my books yet, so that might actually be a good time for me to do that. So we're gonna take a brief intermission.
2 hours later.
Okay, I am back finally. I just went through my entire shelves and did something I had been putting off for quite some time. It took me a couple of hours, but let's see. So I cataloged everything and I just arranged my Goodreads into like highest average rating to lowest. So looking at my highest, and I'll plop up a little screenshot here, I have some series that come up first. So like Kingdom of Ash, which is number 7 in a series, I'm not there yet. Redeeming 6, which is number 4 in a series, also not there. And then Harry Potter number 7, also not there. But the next book that comes up is The Nightingale. Now, I could just be like, oh, I'll read the next book in the Throne of Glass series. But like, I feel like that's not true to what my actual TBR is. So I'm going to go with The Nightingale, which has a 4.62. And that's actually tied with Harry Potter 7. But all of the Throne of Glass books are like in the top 10, basically. So they all have like 4.6 ratings and up. most of them at least. I have The Nightingale right here. That's the highest. And it looks like my lowest rated book is actually #1 Chinese Restaurant with a 3.01. And what's crazy is both of these books are on my March TBR. So whether I get the best rated book on my TBR or the worst rated book on my TBR, I'm meeting goals. So I'm going to assign heads to this one and tails to this one, just because like highest, lowest, heads, tails, that's just how I'm gonna do it. I need to find a coin. I have actually a little pouch of quarters here. So I'm gonna use this coin from, looks like it's a Tennessee quarter, so, but, so that will be tails, then obviously the head will be heads. So, let's see. What is it? What is that? It's a tails. Okay, so that means I'm gonna be reading #1 Chinese Restaurant next. I will come back with my thoughts. So let me kind of like read what this one's about. It says, the Beijing Duck House in Rockville, Maryland is not only a beloved go-to setting for hunger pangs and celebrations, it is its own world, owned and run by the Han family, and inhabited by waiters and kitchen staff who have been fighting, loving, and aging within its walls for decades. When disaster strikes, this working family's controlled chaos is set loose, forcing each character to confront the conflicts that fast-paced restaurant life has kept at bay. Generous in spirit, unaffected in its intelligence, multi-voice, poignant, and darkly funny, #1 Chinese Restaurant looks beyond red tablecloths and silkscreen murals to share an unforgettable upstairs, downstairs story about youth and aging, parents and children, and all the ways that our families destroy us while also keeping us grounded and alive. And this one's actually really short. It's under 200 pages. I have the audio for this. I just got it from the library. But fun fact, I actually used to live in Rockville before I moved to where my new place is. So I'm very familiar with the area. However, the place is made up, so it's not actually a real place in Rockville. So it'll be interesting to see them talking about different places in Rockville, maybe. But yeah, let's get started. So I am reading #1 Chinese Restaurant, and I'm about 57 pages in, so I'm on chapter 7. And so far it is kind of just like a general fiction book, but we are kind of like going into the lives of the staff at this Beijing duck house, and like the Chinese restaurant is like getting set up and everything. So it's kind of like a I don't even know how to describe it. Like you're really like going into the lives and the family dynamics of the people that are kind of like part of this restaurant. So yeah, right now there's like a sad part because it was talking about one of the guys, his wife is sick, and so he's like caring for her. And it's just really sad. Like you could tell he really loves her, but like there's only like so much he can do. So overall, it's turning out to be an okay read. I'm not like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my gosh, I have to keep reading this, but it is the only book I'm focusing on right now. And I felt like this would actually be pretty family appropriate to bring to a family lunch I'm about to go to. But later tonight, I'm going to be starting a different book, which is a dark romance. And I'm like, that's not a good book to like bring and sit if I have some like free time or whatever. Like, I don't want to pull out a really dark romance and then someone's like, what are you reading? I want to be like, I'm reading something that's okay. So I'll check back in with you guys later. Finished a book. Yeah, 2.5. Wasn't having a great time, unfortunately. I really wanted to like this one because it's set in like kind of the area where I live, fictionally, but it was just a lot of drama between this like intergenerational Asian family who starts this Chinese restaurant, the Beijing Duck House, and it piqued my interest here and there, but like overall I was so bored. I'm glad it's done. I'm ready to move on to the next book. So let's see what Sarah has for me now.
Hey, I'm back. Hopefully you don't hate me after that last prompt. I mean, even if it was you having to read your lowest rated book, I hope that it was still good. Anyways, let's just hop into prompt number 3. This one's kind of simple, or at least I think so. It's something I've noticed in a lot of book titles as of late within the past couple of years, so I think it'll be pretty easy to find a book that has this. But basically, I want you to read a book that has a punctuation mark in the title. It can be a comma, it can be a quotation mark, it can be a period, a semicolon, a colon, whatever. Or it can even be a question mark. It just has to have some type of punctuation mark in the title. I am excited to see what you choose.
Okay, a punctuation mark. Does a dash count as a punctuation mark? I feel like I need to Google. It can be? But not in the way that I'm thinking of a book, but like I don't think it's gonna fit the prompt because it's more of like a compound word type of thing. Anyways, I'm gonna go find a different book. Okay, I'm back and I feel like this isn't going so well for me. But the first book that came to mind for me was the rom-commers, but it just has like rom-commerce, and I was like, that's not really punctuation because that's just part of the word. So then I looked through all my shelves. The next book that comes to mind is Does It Hurt? I already read that, and as much as I would love to reread it, I read it really recently, so I'm not gonna do that. Plus I have a full vlog for that already, so if you want to see that fun time, go watch that. But the 2 books that I have that have any sort of punctuation, because I have a lot of like one word title books or books that don't have any punctuation. So I have a Christmas book, Love Always Christmas, which this would technically get me points for Realmathon because it's a blue cover. Well, snow is white, but this looks blue. And then there's a dog on the cover, so an animal. I don't know if I really want to read a Christmas book right now, especially one that is like 350 something pages. This is more of a holiday read. The other book I have is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. And I've never read anything by this author. This is also about 350-ish pages or so. I think I'm going to go with this book just because I want to know if I like Sally Rooney. I have a couple books by her that I never read before, and so I'm like, well, let's give it a shot. It's also blue, so I could still count it for Realmathon points. But there's no animal on the cover. Humans don't count. That's for a different prompt. So we're gonna see what this is all about. Goodreads says it's a 3.54. This is a contemporary romance. And it says that Alice, a novelist, meets Felix, who works in a warehouse, and asks him if he'd like to travel to Rome with her. In Dublin, her best friend Eileen is getting over a breakup and slips back into flirting with Simon, a man she has known since childhood. Alice, Felix, Eileen, and Simon are still young, but life is catching up with them. They desire each other, they delude each other, they worry about sex and friendship and the times they live in. Will they find a way to believe in a beautiful world? I don't know, but what's not beautiful is that I hate these stickers, so I'm about to peel this off and get started. What is cool though is it kind of takes place in like Ireland, and today is St. Patrick's Day. Looks like it takes place in Ireland and Italy. So yeah, let's dive right in. Okay, I finished this book. I finished it. Yeah, this was didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just kind of like very middle of the road, 3 stars. At times I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I like that we're getting kind of deeper into the characters. But I don't know, there was something about this book that just like didn't hit for me. So one, this is my first Sally Rooney book, and I've heard that in the past, like I've heard people say, oh, she doesn't use quotations for her, like when people are speaking, which yes, very much this would have confused me had I not been also listening to the audiobook. I kind of felt like there was no real plot to this. It was more so like character driven and very much the like real life day-to-day happenings of a relationship. Like they had some sexy scenes in here that weren't even sexy. They were just like, they were getting intimate, and it was just kind of like the conversations that you would have with your partner versus like, you know, you're reading a spicier book, a dark romance, a smut, something, and you're like, ooh, this is taking me out of this world. So yeah, that while this you know, intimate scenes were okay, it wasn't more so like the spicier stuff that I was hoping for. I mean, I wasn't hoping for any spice in this book, like, because I knew going in it wasn't like a smutty book. Also, towards the end of the book, it starts talking about the pandemic, which I was kind of like, "Rah." Like, I wanted to be transported out of this world, and unfortunately, I felt very much like I was just reading about some old person's life, 4 people's lives, but gave this a 3 stars. So, come on, Sarah. I'm hoping that the next prompt is better. It's not like the prompts are what's doing me in here. This was just the only book I had that had like a comma or some sort of punctuation in it. So let me see what the next video is.
Okay, prompt number 4. We are really getting down to the nitty gritty. For this one, we're gonna leave it up to luck again, okay? For this one, it's kind of the same idea as the highest and lowest rated with the coin flip, but for this one, I want you to get a book, any book, over 500 pages, and I want you to get a book that's under 200 pages. Neither have to be on your physical TBR, just 2 books. Just pick 2 books. 2 books you're in the mood for, 2 books you have to read, whatever. Just one has to be over 500 pages and one has to be under 200 pages. I want you to make a wheel. You can do this online, you can do this on a piece of paper, whatever, but just make a spinner wheel with 500 plus and under 200 pages, or you can put the books in there, whichever you want to do, and you're gonna spin the wheel and you have to read whatever it lands on. I can't wait to see what you choose.
Okay, please. All right, I'm gonna go find 2 books. One over 500 pages and then one under 200 pages. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the over 500 page book I picked is Pucking Around by Emily Rath. So this one has 573 pages in this book, okay? And then this one I picked is under 200. This is called Sugarcane by Cassandra Celia. And all I know is it's dark, which is the mood I'm in. And let's see, this one is like 147 pages, kind of. But there's like some pages that have like a news article in them. Anyways, so I put them on a spinner wheel. We just have Sugarcane and Pucking Around. So we're gonna see what I get. I'm like really hoping for Sugarcane because I really, really want to read that one right now. So here we go. Cross your fingers. Oh, come on. Can I just do it again? I really want to read Sugarcane. Nope, Pucking Around wins. I went to go put my glasses on because my eyeballs were getting very dry. But let me tell you what Pucking Around is about. So it says, my name is Rachel Price, and 2 months ago I walked away from the perfect man. Sweet, funny, and so sexy he should be illegal. We shared one magical night. No names, no strings. I never thought I'd see him again. I was wrong. As it turns out, Mr. Perfect is the Playboy grinder for the Jacksonville Rays, the NHL's hottest new hockey team. And thanks to the 10-month fellowship I just landed, I'm his new physical therapist. Imagine my anticipation as those familiar muscled legs walk toward me, the way my pulse races as he reaches out to shake my hand. The jerk doesn't even recognize me. This is going to be the longest 10 months of my life, because now Mr. Perfect Mistake is determined to use his every seductive trick to win me back. Meanwhile, I also have to contend with his best friend, the surly team equipment manager, and an exasperatingly stubborn, superstitious goalie who's convinced I'm his good luck charm. This is my chance to prove myself, and I'm not risking it for anything. But between one unexpected night and one secret revealed, these men are ready to test all my limits. Still, I can't fall for a player, let alone 3, or can I? Is this like a... This is a reverse harem. Girl, ooh, we're gonna puck around. Okay, so I'm very excited to read this. By the way, Pucking Around has a 3.89 rating on Goodreads, so hopefully it's good. So I'm excited to get into Pucking Around, and I will let you know. Oh my goodness, there's some more books coming out. It says there's Pucking Wild and Pucking Sweet. Let's see. There's even like a prequel to this called That One Night. Okay, Emily Rath. All right, I'm here for a good time. I'll see you guys when I get into it. Okay, so I finally finished Pucking Around, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I could not get over how cute each of the characters were. Like, I loved Jake. He was a little bit of a golden retriever, but he was just like so sweet and so like all in. And then Caleb was also really sweet. He was very much like the chill, relaxed, level-headed, very loyal guy. And then Omari wasn't my favorite, but I did really like his character progression throughout the whole book. And then the main female character, her name is Rachel. She was, I felt like she was kind of like this badass, like, I'll do what I want to do, like, no one can control me kind of woman. So I felt like the relationship of everybody was just like really good. Everybody vibed. We have not only the males interested in the female and vice versa, there are some males interested in each other, and they're interested in kind of like all being together. But it was very interesting to see like how this relationship worked amongst the 4 people, and I was just eating it up. I love the spice. I love the plot. It was just perfect, and I cannot wait to continue on with the novellas. I already did read the prequel novella. There's a novella afterwards called Pucking Ever After Volume 1 that follows Pucking Around. And then there's another one for Volume 2, but I think that one follows the people from Pucking Wild. So I will read that novella before I get to the next one. But before I get into any more Pucking Around books, I do have one more prompt from Sarah to finish off this challenge. So I'm going to watch her video and see what my next prompt is.
We have finally made it to our last prompt, prompt number 5. For this one, I'm gonna make it super easy. I want you to read a 2024 release, but it has to be by a debut author or a new to you author. I want you to branch out, not just read books by authors that you've read from before. But I think it's fairly easy. There's a lot of new releases so far this year. So I hope you enjoy this last prompt, and this was literally so much fun to do. I hope you like your last book, and I hope you don't hate me after this.
All right, so I have to find a book that was a debut author or a new to me author. So I'm going to peruse my shelves. So I initially picked 2 other books that came out in 2024 that I was potentially thinking about reading. So I had Annie Bot by Sierra Greer and Snow Globe by Soo-Young Park. And I really wanted to start a different book instead, but I was like, oh, I'm trying to vlog this for another video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what book I'm reading instead of Snow Globe and Annie Bot, but the like vloggy part is actually going to be in a separate video. So you have like more thoughts and opinions there. So there's one big important part in Sarah's prompt that I neglected to do, which was to read a new or debut author. And I mean, I did read a book in 2024, but I missed that other part. So forgive me, Sarah, but I went with this book instead. I'm going to be reading Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. And this is the novella that comes after Hunting Adeline. So it's strongly recommended that you don't read this until you have read Hunting Adeline. So there's actually a suggested reading order in the book. So author's note, before you continue, you should read Satan's Affair, Haunting Adeline, Hunting Adeline, and then Where's Molly? I just noticed there's a pig here, which makes a lot of sense because I've read the first couple of chapters already. But that is kind of the suggested reading order, and that's exactly how I read it. So if you want more thoughts and opinions, I will later on link the video to my full thoughts on this. It's going to be paired with another book, a couple of books that kind of are in this genre. So I'm excited to read this. It's quite short, so I can really just like get through this and finish up my Choose Your Own Adventure with Sarah. And yeah, very excited because I think at the beginning I was like not getting books that I loved, but now I'm like, okay, this is great. Like, I'm ending on a high note here. This is already a great book. So I am currently on chapter 6. I did read a little bit last night, so I'm going to try to finish the rest of this before sprints in a couple of hours. So it's just a little bit later in the day, but I did just finished Where's Molly, and I think I'm gonna rate this 4.5 stars. I just absolutely loved like the closure that we got. I loved the storyline between Molly and Cage, and even Layla. And then if you keep reading at the very end, like after like the author stuff and the acknowledgments and all that, it says, so you decided to stick around, huh? Here's your reward. And then you get this extended epilogue, which features Adeline and Zaid and the opportunity to work with Molly. So this was just like a really quick novella to kind of give us closure on what Molly has been up to, what her story was, especially after Hunting Adeline. Like that's where you first learned about Molly. So definitely a good book. I really love the whole cat and mouse series, and I know that Sibby is going to get a duet soon. I don't know how soon, but she's going to get one, and I absolutely cannot wait because I will eat that up. So this finally concludes my vlog, my Choose Your Own Adventure vlog with Sarah, and I had so much fun doing this. I love Sarah so much, and like if you haven't seen her vlog, because like we both did this at the same time, you gotta go check hers out. I will leave hers in the description below. And if you're not subscribed to Sarah already, make sure that you go do that because again, she's super duper amazing. But thanks for clicking on today's video and watching it all the way through. If you made it this far, leave me a skull emoji because this is the last book I finished. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!